Are you ready to let go of your life clutter and all those belongings that you're holding and clinging onto? Well, in this video, I'm going to give you a quick review of tapping, and then we're going to do 2 rounds. We're going to do 2 different types of tapping to help you let go of all that subconscious garbage that's in your mind that keeps you clinging and holding on to your belongings. So let's get started. In my last video, I talked about EFT tapping and how to do it, and when it doesn't work, because there's definitely things you really need to tune into in order for it to be effective. So check that out for sure before watching this video. And I want to go through the steps because we're going to do 2 types, as I mentioned. We're going to do the type that I described in my last video, where you're doing like 3 parts. You're first checking into the problem and seeing what that feels like and being able to make a statement about it, rating it on a scale of 1 to 10, then doing the tapping sequence, and then reevaluating and checking again. So I'll guide you through that. And when we're doing that type of tapping, we're focusing on one statement, one aspect of the problem. Then we'll move on to another tapping round where we're going to list all those different ways that you might be attached to your belongings. And then we're going to flip the script and embed those positive statements that are going to help you let go. Tapping is a great technique because even if it doesn't work the first time, you can do it again, and slowly you're going to start dismantling those legs that are on the table, as I mentioned in my last video, where the tabletop is the problem and the legs are all the different experiences and beliefs that keep that table up. So it's great because you can just go at it one at a time, and you can do it on your own or with a practitioner, which I love. So let's get going. So take a moment just to check in and see how you're feeling physically. And ideally close your eyes and think about how it feels when you think about all the clutter that is in your life. Then I want you to rate on a scale of 1 to 10 the intensity of that for you. 10 being as most intense and 1 being not really. Next, we're going to introduce the statement that we're going to use to help you shift that. You can use this one or you can use your own, it's up to you. And you're going to say, I completely accept myself even though my life is filled with clutter. And then the reminder phrase we're going to use is, my life is filled with clutter. So let's begin. Follow along on the karate chop or the sore point. Okay? So I completely accept myself even though my life is filled with clutter. I completely accept myself even though my life is filled with clutter. I completely accept myself even though my life is filled with clutter. Breath, and really feel that quickly above the brow. My life is filled with clutter. Side. My life is filled with clutter. Below the eye. My life is filled with clutter. 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 Under the arms. My life is filled with clutter. Under the breastbone. My life is filled with clutter. Top of the head. My life is filled with clutter. My life is filled with clutter. First finger. My life is filled with clutter. My life is filled with clutter. Pinky. My life is filled with clutter. And karate chop. My life is filled with clutter. Now finding your gamut point and tapping. Close your eyes. Open them. Look down to the right. Look down to the left. Do a circle one way. Circle the other way. And then hum a song for 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Come again. And then another round of tapping. I completely accept myself, even though my life is filled with clutter. I completely accept myself, even though my life is filled with clutter. I completely accept myself, even though my life is filled with clutter. I completely accept myself, even though my life is filled with clutter. Reminder phrase, my life is filled with clutter. 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 Sore spot. My life is filled with clutter. Under the arms. My life is filled with clutter. Under the breastbone. My life is filled with clutter. Top of the head. My life is filled with clutter. Thumb. My life is filled with clutter. First finger. My life is filled with clutter. My life is filled with clutter. My life is filled with clutter. Karate chop. My life is filled with clutter. Now close your eyes. Take a big deep breath. And now reevaluate. Where are you on that scale of 1 to 10? Did it stay the same? Is it more or less? So if it's still the same, you can repeat it again. If it's not at 0, not as much as you would like, again, you can repeat that cycle again. Or you can try this next round where we're just doing the tapping without the gamut point and the eye movement. Okay, so let's get started. Starting with the karate chop. I completely accept myself, even though I have a hard time letting go. I completely accept myself, even though I have a hard time letting go of my belongings. I completely accept myself, even though I have a hard time letting go of my beliefs and habits. Moving towards the eyes. I keep on holding on to things that are useful, but I never use them. I worry that if I throw it away, I'll need it. I really appreciate the function of my belongings. I don't want to waste by letting go. I love the way these items look in my home. It's so hard letting go of things that I appreciate. Under the breastbone. I feel really strong emotions towards things that people gave me. I feel like I can't let them go because it's like letting go of a part of myself. I have a hard time letting go of my belongings in general because I feel like they're a part of me. And then if I let them go, I'm letting go of myself. I feel such a strong emotional bond to my belongings. It's a way of staying connected to the past. It's a way of staying connected to my memories. I'm afraid if I let go, then I'll be letting go of my life. I'll be letting go of all those memories that I won't be able to remember them. And I won't be able to remember the people who were with me in those moments. I have a really hard time letting go because of the money I spent on these belongings. Some of them that I never even used. I feel guilt. I'm filled with guilt because of the money that I spent, because of who gave me the item, and because I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, and because I'm afraid of confrontation. tired of feeling the weight of all of my belongings. I feel so attached to them, like they are literally a part of me. I have all these beliefs that keep me holding on, like doubt that I can't live without them, fear that I won't survive, this sense of needing to control in order to feel safe, this what if that daunts me for every decision I make on what to keep, what to let go, and what to buy. I also get this strong resistance inside of me to change. And it really makes it hard to let go. I find myself clinging and holding on, not only to the past, but to people and my belongings. I get really rigid about how I need to do things. So I end up wasting time focusing on something and not being able to just let it go. That perfectionism comes in, that need to be perfect so no one criticizes me, that fear of criticism, and at the end of the day, the one that hurts the most is me. Moving to the positive, it's okay to let go. It's safe now. And I can trust myself. And if I do make a mistake, it's okay. I'll survive. I have faith now that I can take care of myself. I know that letting go of things will give me more space to create. It will give me more space for myself, literally and figuratively. It will give me the space to breathe and be calm and do more self-care. Being clear of clutter allows me to sleep better with a peace of mind. My days flow with ease, having less clutter in my life. I love having more time and energy to do the things that I love and that are important to me. I love being able to have people over now and not be embarrassed or ashamed about my space. I release this internal clutter that's inside of me and keeps me holding on to beliefs, belongings, and ways of doing things. And I let go of this resistance that won't allow me to change. I let go. I let go. I allow myself to let go. Okay, so I'm going to get you to just do another check-in and reevaluation. And just see where you are on that scale of 1 to 10. Hopefully there's been a reduction. And just really making sure that when you're doing this, you're staying focused on the overall problem, how it feels in your body, like really feel that emotion and the thoughts that come up, because then you can use those to do other rounds. If you have the thought that came up of anger, we didn't talk about anger. If anger came up for you, you could do some tapping around anger and the clutter using one statement or a bunch of statements the way we did in the second round. Another thing to be mindful of is to be really specific. The more specific you are to how you're feeling in that felt sense, the better. Because that's what allows to clear that blockage in your system so that the energy is flowing properly, you're in ventral vagal, you can think clearly, and then you're not clinging on in a state of fear and anxiety. So do check out my video on some videos on focusing, because that really helps with this technique. And it is a practice. And as I mentioned in my last video, it's actually really great to do this if you're emotionally charged, because that's the time that energy is there and then you can clear it out. I would say that you won't necessarily see the benefits in the change in your thinking right away. If you do this regularly, you'll just be like, oh, that situation didn't bother me like it would have before. You might notice that you start shifting your clinging to kind of a more relaxed posture when you think about your belongings. So definitely do this regularly, even if it's just like 1 minute a day, and you will finally be able to let go of that life clutter, both your belongings, your beliefs, and everything that keeps you holding on to the past and not allowing you to be present and create your future. I'm Tanya. Thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned for more EFT tapping videos.